Welcome to my flat lay table, which is really just our coffee table, but it's turned into a flat lay table because I love to compose some piece of art and take a photo of it and share it on the coffee table, which is got this fabulous lighting from the window. And anyway, the purple flowers I'm absolutely loving. Painted the base white. Used to be green, lime green. Got tired of it being lime green, so I just made it something new, and I love it. But I want to show you is my Bible cover. I was originally wanting, I leave it out a lot, and I'm just not a big red person, and the cover was red. This is my chronological Bible, so I leave it out basically just as a reference, and then I read in my other Bibles, but I'm always getting it out. And it was red on the cover, and I'm not a big red person, so initially I thought I might do some painting on it. I'm not very artistic painting. And this little book here, it's got little quotes in it. Also had a red cover, and I leave it out a lot. So initially, just like this one, I had covered it with gesso. Now this one I've written on, and I'm probably going to also cover it like I've covered this one. But I wanted to show you how it is gessoed. So the Bible actually kind of looked more like this to cover it up. And then I was going to do something with it, and I wasn't sure what, because I don't have those artistic skills. So I was looking at a video on YouTube about junk journaling and how she made the cover for her junk journal. And then suddenly I was totally inspired. So what I did was I went and just found material in my stash, which is what junk journaling is to go and get junk in your stash and turn it into treasure. So it's not really true junk that you would throw into the trash, but stuff that you're saving that you might use one day. Well, now is the time to use it. So on my machine, I just laid this piece and this piece of fabric together, and I just sewed down the middle of it, and then I did a zigzag stitch around it. You can see the zigzag stitch here. It's kind of messy, but that's what makes shabby chic kind of stuff cool. And you can see I just zigzagged around the edge a couple times, all the way around the edge. And then I did use my machine to zigzag this piece of ribbon on. Actually, I did this ribbon first, and then I overlaid it with this ribbon. And then I used my hands to hand sew on this little bow and this. And I think this bow and this little applique, I think I've had it since I was a teenager. Under 18. I'm pretty sure it's been in my stash that long, so I'm so excited to be able to use it. And I sewed on hand sewed on just a piece of material, like a patchwork on the back. Love it. I love looking at the rough random stitching and the fraying. So shabby. Since I'm keeping it all white, it's more about the textures. But then the cool stuff, what I got from the video, and I can't really show it to you very well, was this tacky glue. Now, I've had this tacky glue, talk about using up junk, in the basement. The last time I used it was probably 20 years ago, and I think I have like 3 containers of it. And what I noted was that it dries colorless and flexible. Oh my gosh, flexible. And as soon as I read that, I had this aha moment. It was so old I couldn't get the top off of it, so I cut the top off, and I just stuck my fingers in there to get the glue, and I spread it all over the cover. Now you see this cover is, not hard. It's flexible, and so is now my journal. And this book, see how it goes in the middle here? This flexible glue actually helped that to conform all the way around, and I can't tell you how cool it is. I did have extra fabric and I wrapped it around and put it here, but I can't tell you how cool it is to touch this. It has a whole different feel to it. And then I had this in here marking where the New Testament begins, because this is chronological. So this was actually larger and stuck out on the edges, and I didn't like the colors. They were just too dark and reddish looking, but I liked the image, so I cut it down and left it in here. But then I just glued a piece of ribbon in here with that tacky glue, and now I can quickly open up to know when the New Testament starts. And then this is the location where I'm at in my digital Bible journaling. It's the same, just simple white grosgrain ribbon from the basement, the same ribbon that's on the front, and I absolutely love it. And I just had to share that with you. Oh, and talk about sharing. Here is, as I was putting it together, it just hit me, oh my gosh, I've done these before. So here is my Bible cover that I made when I was a teenager, way back in the 80s, and I was thinking to myself, why aren't I doing it that way? See, here's how we did it normally, is you'd make this flap so that the cover, this one is hardbound, would fit in here. But then, and there's my special envelope from my grandma. But, and here's the back. You can see the color it's supposed to be. This thing has gotten so faded from being set out and used. It's in a drawer now. But I even made one for my husband when we were first dating. So his is done the same way. But you can see his has got a flap, and it allows him place, a large flap, and it allows him place to store stuff. But that is the way I normally would have done it. But now I'm like, if it doesn't matter, if the cover doesn't matter, I'm just going to get out this tacky glue and glue it down, because this worked absolutely beautiful. And speaking of old things, look at this frog. This is one of the first kind of cross stitch projects I ever did. And as I was going through my stash of junk, I found it. And I think I've gotten it out many times, and every time it gets stuck and put back because I'm not sure what to do with it. I think I was taught to tape around the edges so they wouldn't fray as I was sewing, and for as long as I can remember, every time I get it out, I think, but I love that masking tape. I'm beginning to learn more about myself, that I love that old, I don't know how to describe it, that kind of stuff that, and anyway, it just gets picked up and laid around as a decoration. I think about framing it sometimes. I don't know why I love frogs. I think I've always loved frogs, and I have no idea why. I put frog decorations out in my garden now. Turtles too. But anyway, I just wanted to share with you my new Bible cover and how much I love it. And I hope it inspires you.